Good Tuesday afternoon, everybody. I'm meteorologist Tim Pandages. We've got a significant ongoing icing event whose impacts are going to be mostly outside of our viewing area here at KHOU 11, which is some good news. The exception is going to be the far northwestern cities and counties that could see a light glazing of some freezing rain and some sleet pellets there. For the majority of us, it's gloomy and cold for the next couple of days, and tomorrow and Thursday especially bring more widespread rain coverage. Highs today, 20 degrees below average. Final day of January, normal highs around 65. We'll be around 45 at Houston, 42 at Katy, but look to the north and west. Temperatures, although above freezing, still very, very chilly. So that's where we find our winter weather advisories that are up through noon tomorrow. And that's for these areas to see some sleet pellets mixing on in with some light drizzle and mist. And also when temperatures get cold enough tonight and into tomorrow, that drizzle and mist could become freezing drizzle and mist. And that could lead to some ice accretion or some building of the ice, accumulation of ice on some elevated surfaces, as well as some tree branches and power lines. Most of these areas should see that ice accumulation well under 1/8 of an inch. Not enough to cause big disruptive problems, but certainly some slick travel in those spots. However, well to the northwest, look at the wide part of Texas, central and north Texas, under a winter storm warning. Now, in these areas is where we expect to see ice accretion, ice accumulation totals up and over 1/4 to maybe 1/2 an inch. Once you get to those levels, that's when it becomes extremely disruptive for travel and power outage risk. Here's satellite and radar showing majority of the precipitation falling right now is on the lighter side, streaming up from the southwest, lifting to the northeast, pretty much just streaming into the Dallas Metroplex area. Now in the pinks, that's where you're finding freezing rain. In the purple, that's sleet, and the blue shades are some wet snowflakes mixing on in there. So you may be asking yourself, with air temperatures that are certainly cold enough at or below the freezing mark in Austin, Dallas, over to Abilene, San Angelo, why we aren't seeing just plain old snow in these areas. Well, in this particular situation, the cold air is very, very shallow, meaning it's hugging the ground near the surface. You go up several thousand feet, we'll go up to 5,000 feet, what we call the 850 millibar level or layer. And we've got air temperatures that are actually well above the freezing mark in Austin to San Antonio, even in Dallas, above freezing. So we've got the precipitation falling from the cloud. It's encountering this warm layer, melting, and then encountering the sub-freezing layer at the surface and refreezing again. That's why you get those raindrops that freeze on contact, freezing rain, and then some sleet pellets mixing in there as well. The impact of this icing event will likely be high in areas in the white shading, just to the northwest of southeast Texas here, headed up towards Dallas. Travel plans along I-35, going out west to Austin or San Antonio, planned accordingly. Have any flights leaving out of Houston with a connection out of Dallas? Check in. Ground delays there till 10 p.m. tonight and likely through much of Texas with ice accretion totals forecast to be several tenths of an inch, potentially even over 1/2 an inch in some areas. So that is very, very disruptive. And we see a lot of this ice accretion happening particularly on elevated surfaces. You have to look at it this way. The elevated surfaces, the cold air is surrounding that. It's coming at it from all angles, so it drops the temperature much quicker. You'll get the ice accretion and ice coatings on the elevated surfaces quicker than you'll get on just plain old roadways that have the cold air coming at it just from one direction there. So elevated surfaces going to be the risky areas here going forward for the next 24 to 36 hours. Here locally, it's a mainly cold rain event for the majority of us, the exception being out to the north and west. College Station, over to Brenham, you see some pink showing up here. That's some freezing rain and sleet pellets showing on up late tonight into tomorrow. More widespread rain coverage by the morning commute. Notice that pink shading gets down towards Columbus and between Tomball and Brenham here as well. We're seeing some sleet and freezing rain mixing on in. Showers heavy at times, especially north of I-10 through tomorrow afternoon. A little lull, and then we do it again for one final round on Thursday before that begins to wrap up and push east. And behind that, finally, some break in that cloud cover, clearing skies, and much better weather coming our way for Friday onwards into the first weekend of February. Temperatures jump up to 64 on Saturday, 68 Sunday, and by early next week with a southerly wind, we'll see our highs back into the low 70s.